In countless class discussions while abroad, we talked about advertising and the responsibilities that we possess as future campaign strategists and account managers. We dissected culture, social norms, negative imagery, and most notably a lack of ethnic representation. We identified actual campaigns that reinforced stereotypes that were racially insensitive, and we scrutinized brands that had a track record for using these tactics. However, I couldn't help but realize that in our quest to uncover all that is evil about our future profession, that we failed to discuss the inevitable reality that we all must face should we wish to remain employed. That as individuals, sometimes being an agent of change takes a backseat to generating income.
Contract or no, I will not bow to any sponsor.
Sorry you feel that way, but basically it's the nature of the beast.
Maybe I'm wrong on this one, but for me, the beast doesn't include selling out. Garth, you know what I'm talking about, right?
It's like people only do things because they get paid. And that's just really sad.
I can't talk about it anymore. It's giving...
After completing a course in a previous semester concerning multicultural marketing, and simultaneously taking an online course in global communications while abroad, never have my eyes been more open to the struggle minorities face across the globe to be seen and heard. However, for the first time, I am able to put this into perspective. As students, we have the luxury to be critical of others, faced with the challenge of maintaining a brand image through some creative campaign without offending a particular group of people. One day, we will be faced with a deadline and a budget, and the ultimate goal of attracting or maintaining or even expanding a customer base. It is in this situation where our education and its collection of courses will be most important, and no more is this truth when attempting to enter a new market or in targeting a specific minority. In the case of particular brands, a change in the brand's image or altering its advertising strategy could spell disaster for their bottom line, and for an agency, it could even mean the loss of an entire account. Take the current situation in Germany with its growing Turkish population, for example. Companies seeking a portion of this market are facing new challenges, and those who are yet to address it are being criticized for avoiding it. I had a number of conversations with people both German and foreign born and asked about advertising preferences and what influences them and how they felt about being over or underrepresented. And the consensus with the individuals that I spoke with was that they were generally unconcerned with the issue. So it begs the question, should companies who are completely content with their current market position invest millions in advertising that is more conducive to the idea that as a brand they embrace this community? Few if any advertising targeting this population was evident while I was in Berlin, and trust me, I was looking. But criticizing a company for not seeking a place in this market seems a bit misguided. I did manage to stumble across some information about a Volkswagen campaign that took place a few years back. It was called Volkswagen Speaks Turkish, and it was pioneered by a guy named Michael Kern. And the idea was part of this larger ethno-marketing plan that he had developed. But essentially what he did was to target the Turkish population in Germany with purpose. And from what I read, the campaign was a success. It managed not to offend anyone. I mean, imagine if it had somehow backfired and suddenly Volkswagen had somehow created a rift with its German-speaking customers. The point that I'm trying to make is that not every campaign going forward should attempt to incorporate diverse ethnic representation without a sincere purpose. Now, I was only brave enough to argue this point under the protection of an H&M campaign I was presenting on, but criticizing a company for choosing all white models for an advertising campaign in a country where 91% of the population is of white complexion is not really an example of social irresponsibility. Again, with my eyes never more open to the struggle minorities face to be seen and heard, I can still appreciate the strategy being utilized by H&M. One of the most important things that I learned while in Berlin was that becoming a professional of communications means exercising proper judgment. Ultimately, I believe it will make the difference in selecting tactics that work for ones that do not. And when these decisions become my responsibility, I can be confident in the fact that I can be effective and sensitive without overcompensating. Yeah, thanks for the introduction. So living in another country is education enough, but couple that with the classes, the assignments, and the site visits, to companies that are perpetually educating themselves in the very subjects that we're seeking aids in, and the entire experience was incredible. As much as I would love to make this about our professor and her endless wealth of knowledge and guidance, my experience with the site visits were truly what enhanced the entire experience. Not to take anything away from the INK Institute, but for me, I learned more in those brief visits than I could possibly have absorbed in an entire semester of Friday presentations. And on a side note, I'd like to thank both the professor and the Institute for arranging it. I'd also like to thank Marcel Kloppenberg from Meta Design and Inga Meinhardt from McCann Erickson and everyone at Wally G for their amazing presentations. Hands down the highlight of the school activities for the trip. So just check out this video and you'll have a vague idea of what I'm talking about. Cut it a little short because I don't want to make this all about what Wally G is capable of doing, but basically, so you could see this had a pretty immense impact on me. It kind of played into the things that I was interested in, and if I could offer a bit of advice to the incoming students, do not, and I repeat, do not miss these site visits. They will absolutely enhance your experience and may even inspire some ideas of your own.